Hey everybody, Mr. Kevin here, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how I went about making this. Using the Incra 5000 sled. First time I ever used it, just unboxed it, been sitting around for 3 weeks. I've been wanting to use it and never had time because I'm working. And so I made this with it, and I'm going to show you how I made this. And I'm going to go over a few little strange things and weird things, and you know, you got to make friends with the tool when you first get it, and you got to learn how to use it. And this thing's pretty amazing, and I'm going to go over a few things that I've learned and things you need to know. All right, we'll see you in a minute. All right, here we go. I'm going to disappear. Ready, go. All right, I'm over here on the table saw, and I wanted to go over a few things. A few of the cool things I found is that these guys right here put all of their stuff in bags with labels on them. This one says C05. And all of these parts belong with whatever part you're working on. And that goes with everything. All right, let's see if I can show you this. These little guys right here. Okay, these little guys, when you put these in, stick this towards the hole. See that right there? You want the smooth side back. And the little nipply thing. You want it in towards the hole because it'll help lock it in that hole. And the other thing with this is the extension that goes on the end of this thing, and I'll show you in a minute. If you don't use the 1/2-inch screws, let's see, do I have the bigger ones? So this guy's right here, there's two different sizes. The one you use to hold on your fence is like 3/4, and these are 1/2-inch. So if you're having problems with your the extension on the back, put the smaller screws in. I didn't realize it. They all looked the same to me. The difference, you know, it's a 1/4-inch difference, but when you got them all splayed out, and I didn't read the manual 100%, I just went, okay, that's how it goes, and put it together. That was wrong. They do give you some very cool tools, which are over here. They give you this guy right here for adjusting your fence. You're going to need to use this a lot, so don't lose it. They give you this guy right here, which goes into this guy, which is your off-feed table. You have to lock this into place to keep this from sliding around when you're using the sled. The sled itself is made out of MDF, and it's covered on all sides with, it looks like LP, plastic laminate. Yeah, very, very well built. It's very nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a camera up here. I'm going to take a picture of you. So I'm going to take my old Canon. I'm going to stick it up on the ceiling up here. I'm going to show you how all this moves around. I'm not going to show you how to put it together because it's pretty simple. You go through these, go through this book right here. It's super simple, makes sense. It's totally easy to do. I mean, if I can do it, you can do it, right? All right, here we go. I'm going to put the camera up there, and I'll see you in a minute. So I don't know how this is going to work. I think I'm just going to take me, and I'm going to stick you over here or down here, and I'm going to take the overhead camera and make it the whole thing. Ready? So the first thing we're going to talk about are the tools you need to use to operate this Incra 5000 sled miter gauge thing. Okay, that's these guys right here. And all right, so there's this screwdriver right here, which works for all of these Allen screws that are down here, like this. This little guy, which works for in here to lock this into place. You have to actually lock this into place when you use it so it doesn't move, which is a good thing. And this guy right here is for that right there, and all this here. You're going to need all these. Don't lose them. There's 3 little parts, and try not to lose them. I do it all the time. I actually found that one of my Allen sets here that I marked Incra on is the same size as this guy, because I'm going to lose this guy because it doesn't have a handle on it, and it's 3/32, just in case you wanted to know. Okay, tools. So the next thing I found that was very strange when I was putting this together is a little lump in the tape right here. And I'm going to explain this right now because they actually give you right and left hand tape. And most of the videos that I've watched, everything's set up on the right. It comes on the right. And I'm not sure why. And that's very weird to me because most of the saws I've had tilt to the left. This is set up for saws that tilt to the right. And most every single video I've seen on YouTube, I don't know if people didn't read directions or what, but they're all set up so everything works to the left side of the blade. To me, that seems weird, but so I set it up the right way because when I cut everything, using this guy right here, I want my blade to tilt to the right, and I don't want to be having a piece come towards my fence. I want it to go away from this fence here. So I set it up so it would be on the right side of the blade, blah, blah, blah. And it tells you that in the directions right here, which are very well done, that you need to flip everything over that says right needs to be left. And I didn't read down far enough because the tape was the same way. When I put this together and I put this fence on there and I laid it in place, I looked down and it said 32 inches here and 1 over on this side. And then I saw that they had a tape and I thought that was just an extra, but no, it's made to flip over like this, and they give you that tape. And we'll go over adjusting this in a minute. So the tape looks like this. Let me see if I can do this. Man, I'll sneak in here. All right, can you see me now? All right, see that? You can see through it. So that helps you line that up. Okay, so you can actually dial these in, and I'll show you over here. I know you can't really see it that well, but you can actually move these around until you get 16 lined up with 16. You got to put the big glasses on to see. And once you get all this lined up and moved around, because you can move both of them, you'll just have that dialed in, and that's how you dial this in, okay? You can dial this in 3 different ways. So you could do it this way, right? You could dial it in here. So when you put this fence down, we're going to go over that sound in a minute. You can use this tape to move this around. That'll help you dial it in. You can also use this little metal bar here to help dial that in if you want to use that as a stop. It goes in and out like that. Okay, so that works. And you got to watch out because these little guys fall out. And they also get in the way of your cuts. If it's over too far this way, see how that is? It'll get in the way of your stop. So you got to make sure that these are out of the way. And that you don't over tighten them, because I over tighten everything. This bag has 2 different bars in it that are right in here. And you can put 1 bar here and 1 bar here, and these can flip independently. See, they'll move separately. So you can dial it in with that bar, you can dial it in with this little guy right here, and you can also move this tape around. And once you get this set and this dialed in up against the blade, you can micro adjust it with this guy right here. And I'd zoom in, but we got other things to talk about. All right, well, while we're on the fence, let's see here. You can see in there, it's just full of little tiny teeth. Okay, and these teeth, you got to make sure that you hear this noise here. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want to be able, you just want to put it in place where you want to make the cut and lock it into place. Be gentle. And you don't have to over tighten these because just a little bit will hold that in place. I mean, that's solid. So the extension also has this little black thing on there with all the teeth, and that gets attached way down here. Let's see if I can move all this stuff. So this says it goes to 62. I don't know if it does or not. It doesn't really matter to me. All right, so now we're going to make these flush on the end. And you can do it 2 ends. You can just go like this, boom. Okay, so I just use that hunk of wood just to make sure it's flush. And tighten all these guys up here. The tape in here also moves, so you can adjust it that way. And this will slide anywhere. So if this goes to 32 here, and then you can make it like 33, or whatever you want. Tighten these guys up like so, and then however it goes. And then there's a nut down here. You see that guy right there? And then you tighten this up when you get it. So it's kind of a thing. You see all this? So this side's flush here. And I made this flipper flush with this side. They're exactly the same size. And now you could take this guy and you can measure out whatever you want. I need to flip this tape around so it's going to be facing the wrong direction again. And this one also, you can see right in there, it has a 48, and it's got that little clear spell in it right there. And you can move this around until you get it all dialed in. You could spend all day mucking with this thing, get it down to the thousandths of an inch. For me, I just needed to be within 32nd of an inch and cut a piece of wood because I'm not building airplanes. So remember, when you're working with this guy, make sure you don't slide it across like you would something else. These have little teeth in there, like 64th of an inch teeth that line up very well in here and there. I mean, that's not even locked in, and you can see I can't move it. I just set it down in place, and it locks in pretty well. Just barely touching it, it locks into place. So you don't have to go crazy locking it down. It'll stay into place, and you probably don't want to put too much pressure on these plastic or nylon screws anyway. So yeah, and just put it in place and lock it there. Boom, done. And like I said, micro adjust it. You have to loosen these first. You can adjust it here. You can also use the rod to adjust it. And you can also, once you get the tape all dialed in where you want it, I don't know what you're supposed to do with it. Maybe double stick tape it in place. I don't know. But yeah, there's several different ways to adjust this thing, which is cool. All right, so let's get to the how do we change the miter thing. I'm gonna flip you on and off. Here's a drawback I see using this miter sled. Once you've spent all your time trying to get this dialed into the gnat's ass, a 64th of an inch, cutting everything, and let's say you want to cut a miter, then what do you do, okay? This is flush with the blade on this side over here. You can see it. Here's how we go about it. You have to loosen this guy here, this guy here. Okay, so that guy's loose. You have to loosen the handle, pull this guy out, which means you have to loosen this knob, and then loosen this knob and pull this away. Okay? And now you can move this. And you can see this moving. Okay? Let's just do 22.5 because it's right there. Okay? How do we go about doing that? Well, the way I did it the first time was I locked it into there and I thought, hey, I'm done. Nope. Everything starts back here. Okay, let me push this forward. All right, so before we change the miter, now remember, we spent an hour getting this all lined up so this fence works and everything works bitchin'. We make a bunch of cuts and they're like, okay, I'm gonna miter something. Okay, cool. Let's miter something to 22.5 degrees. All right, so we loosen up the handle here, loosen this up, we pull that out, we loosen this guy up so it moves. This guy's out of the way because you see that goes like this. And this handle's loose. So, and these are all loose right here. Okay. Now we're gonna set this to 22.5. I'm gonna turn it this way, right? We're here, everything's pushed out of the way. This is pretty close to 22.5. The problem is, you can't do that first. You have to put this guy at 0 first. Boom, locked in, 0. You can also do 0.5 degrees here. See how that is? This side is 0.5 degrees, this is full degrees. So we set this at 0 and we lock that into place, okay? Now we take this guy and move it around until it says 22.5, push this up, lock that into place, and then lock this into place. Got it? So you start, it always starts back here. Lock this one, and this one. When you loosen it up, you loosen this one, and this one. Okay, now here's the conundrum. All right, we've spent an hour getting this all dialed in within the thousandths of an inch. It's perfect. But now our fence sticks over here, and our blade is right here. Here, I'll roll up the blade. Yeah, and if you were to cut something, see the problem? It would cut your fence. So now you got to move all of this, loosen this guy up, and now you got to push this out of the way. So that's the only drawback I see, is once you got all this set up, you either use it for miters all the time or you use it for a crosscut sled. Doing both at the same time, you're going to spend hours, and maybe you should have one for each. I think that would be cool. And I forgot something. So let's say we got this locked into place, 22.5. You have to first lock this guy here, the one going into the fence, and then the one going into the floor. Okay, now this puppy's locked in there. So I cut a bunch of 22.5s the other day, and that's when I realized that this bar has to be all the way out. So when you miter something, you want it to butt into the stop, this stop here, and not that bar. So it hits the same spot every single time. Yeah, so just to sum it up, the tape threw me for a loop because it had a big dent in it. Couldn't figure out why. It took me a while to figure out that you need to loosen this stuff up first. You want to loosen up that bracket, loosen this guy, then the middle one, and then the end. Move it to where you want it to be. Let's go back to 0. Okay, so it's close to 0, and then to lock it into place at 0, you need to do this. You need to put this guy in at 0, push this one in at 0, lock this guy down, boom. And then before I lock this guy in, we got to push this back. And I wish there was some kind of way to figure this out. I just take a piece of wood and stick it there, butt it into the end and then tighten this guy into place. So if you're going to miter and crosscut things at the same time, you're going to have to fudge with this a little bit. And then you tighten this guy into the fence first and that guy there so this stays straight. And you're good to go, and you should be able to make a cut without cutting your fence. But you are going to have to redial this in. And that's the only drawback to this whole thing and getting used to how this comes apart. If you look right here, it tells you the object and the angle. So if I'm going to do a 20-sided object, I'm going to set this at 9 degrees and cut it. And I'm going to do that.
What?
Because I want to see how, and then we're going to wrap it with a big old band clamp and see how it works. So I'm going to do that next. We're going to set this up. I'm going to move this around, and I'm going to cut something. All right, maybe not 20-sided. That'll take forever. Why don't we do, how about a 10-sided object? We can do an octagon, which is what these are, 22.5. Let's do more than that. All right, 15 sides it is. Whatever a 15-sided object is, I'll put it right here. And that's what we're going to make next. So here's how I'm going to set it up. All right, here we go. So loosen these guys first. Okay, loosen this one, loosen that one, loosen this guy. I'm going to put this back and see, so 15-sided objects is 12 degrees, right? So we're going to take this and we're going to move this to right around 10 degrees somewhere. Boom. Man, hear that wind? And we got to move this now until it hits 2. Oops. So there's 2 degrees. I'm going to lock that into place. I'm going to wiggle that till it hits the 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Lock that into place. I'm going to lock this guy into place here. And I'm going to lock this guy into place here. And I'm going to put these 2 screws back in here. So I'm going to go find a hunk of wood long enough, and we're going to cut this 15 times or whatever. All right, that's out of the way of that. This guy's locked in. Okay, so, yep. So the next thing I have to do is I have to move these guys out of the way. Okay, so that's out of the way there. So another thing I found a little strange was once you get over this little plate right here that adjusts the fence in and out, these screws kind of get in the way of this piece right here. And it's kind of strange to get your finger in there. I got kind of big, fat, round fingers, but just one of those things. All right, I'm gonna go find a piece of wood and I'll be right back. Found these pieces of scrap in the scrap pile. And I think they're exactly the same, 13/16 by 13/16. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how this goes. All right, there we go. There we go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put my headphones on. Match it up. Here we go. Oh man. All right, so there's 12 or 15, whatever it is. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go get a band clamp. I'm gonna try to clamp all this stuff up. I'm gonna flip you off. I'm gonna move this stuff out of the way and we're gonna try it right here. We'll see what happens. This ought to be interesting. You guys ever tried to use a band clamp on something with 15 sides before? Yeah. All right, the first thing about band clamps is you don't want any twisties in them, okay? Because that will screw you up royally. So if they have a twist, it's not good. You want to keep the band as flat as possible. And you can see this one has a twist in it because it's stupid. The way you get that twist out, okay, can you see what I'm doing here? The way they get the twist out, this has a twist. You twist it like that and you pull it through. until it's gone. Okay, just like that. So you pull out more than you need, you twist it and you pull it through, and that should relieve you of all that craziness. Now I just got to get all this back into here. That one's extra. I don't know if this is going to be possible or not. There's live TV right here, Jimmy. Okay, we're getting closer. Now I'm going to give it the old cranker anchor, not move it too much. All right, as we're doing this, good golly. Yeah, see, this could be a problem here. Until we get it super tight, it wants to push it out of position. Well, it's getting closer. Let's keep moving everything around. That one seems a little fatter than all the rest, but it's getting pushed on differently. There we go. So these are all the same size. Should be the same thickness. So, but this one here is going to get all tweaky because it's got all the pressure on it. You see that? Keep cranking it before it pops. All right, here we go. Look, Mom, on TV. Yeah, so they all look really good except for, see that one there? Because the cranker's on it and it's screwing it up because it's really putting some pressure on it. I mean, because that thing's tight. That's right out of the box. 15-sided thingamajigger-bobber. I'm sure there's a name for it. Hexahoxahedron. But, yeah, look at that. Okay. You saw me do it live on TV right here. I didn't practice. I didn't do anything for it. I just set it up. So that's pretty good. Bandclamps are awesome. So if you need to make a huge column, no, you couldn't do that. But you could make something bigger. So if these were 3 or 4 inches wide, that'd be kind of cool. And do every other one different color, different stripes, whatever. You can make all sorts of cool things. This 15-sided mitered doohickey. I don't know how round it is or how perfect it is, but all the miters everywhere except for down here look pretty good. So, hey, look at that. Look what I did. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, fling, flang, bang, bang. Thanks for watching. You have an awesome day. Go outside and play. Hug somebody you love, because that's important. Be safe out there, and I'll see you next time right here on Woodworking with Mr. Kevin. I'm going to go play with my Incra 5000 because I think it's pretty cool. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to disappear just like this. Ready? And then back just like that. It's magic. Very, very much magic. Here, I'm going to go down like this. Bye. I got 15 pieces here, and I might need to recalibrate my compass. Yeah. The cool things, I gotta back up. My ear just started ringing. Okay. And in the midst of all this, oh, yeah, I hit the wrong button again. Oh, booger snot.